Once upon a time, there was a girl named Trisha. She lived in a small town up high in the mountains. She loved living in this little town. The view was great, and there was always fresh air. One day, Trisha's parents disappeared. She had no idea where they went. She searched all over the cliffside her little town sat on, but they were nowhere to be seen. Trisha ran all over town, crying, for she was just a little girl. This led her to accidentally bump into an old man. "Whoa there," he said. "If you keep running, you might go off the cliff." Trisha tried to wipe the tears from her eyes. "I lost my parents," she bawled, "and I don't know where to find them." "Have you looked on the other side of the bridge?" the old man said. This thought had never occurred to Trisha. She had never been across the bridge. She rarely looked at it. The bridge was the only way off the mountain, but no one knew where it led. It went into a fog that was always there, but no one knew what was on the other side of the fog. No one wanted to know. Trisha didn't know what to tell the old man, so after some silence, the old man spoke up. "Good luck," he told her as he walked away. Trisha looked over at the bridge and slowly made her way towards it. As she reached the bridge, a chill went down her spine. The air seemed colder by the bridge. She wondered if she needed a coat, but she told herself she was fine. She set one foot on the bridge, and it wobbled. The bridge swayed with the next step, but Trisha wasn't afraid. She lived on the cliffside of a mountain her whole life, so she wasn't afraid of falling. One footstep at a time, she made her way across the bridge. She held her breath as she entered the fog. Trisha eventually forced herself to breathe since the bridge was longer than she thought. She kept walking across the bridge. It seemed impossibly silent. Not even the bridge made a sound. After a long time, Trisha put her left foot forward, but the bridge didn't sway. She looked down, and there was no bridge. She had reached solid ground. There was still fog around her, so it was still very hard to see. She put her other foot forward and tried to look around. She looked around as much as she could, but she saw nothing. She walked away from the bridge. She walked around in different directions until finally she saw a dark shape on the ground in the fog. She walked towards it. As she got closer, she recognized what it was. It was her parents. She ran towards them. She ran up to her dad and gave him a big hug. She told him how much she had missed them and asked why they left. But her dad only said 2 words. "Trisha," he struggled. "Run." Trisha looked down and saw her mother's face, but only that. Her mom's body was missing. And then she looked at her dad. He had multiple wounds all over his body. Then she looked at herself. She was covered in her parents' blood. Trisha started to panic, and then she heard something running towards her. She looked up and saw the figure of a wolf dashing in her direction. She started to run towards the bridge, except she didn't know where it was. Trisha ran in different directions looking for the bridge, but with no success. Finally, she stopped running. Everything was silent again. Suddenly, the wolf leapt out and put her throat in its mouth. They fell over. Trisha didn't feel the ground beneath her yet. The wolf had knocked them both off a cliff. Still, the wolf clung onto her and started to eat her alive. Trisha screamed, but everything was silent. The only sound was her intestines being ripped apart as the wolf feasted. What was left of Trisha hit the ground. Her ribs were so cleaned off that they stabbed the wolf as it hit the ground with her. Her town never looked for her or her parents. They never did anything with her house, so it started to rot away. They didn't give her a tombstone or anything else. She was just forgotten along with her parents as the townsfolk enjoyed the great view and fresh air. The end.